Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do tarot card reading for Taurus. What happened to my one deck? And we're going to get out cards from the Kipper deck. And then, well, I can't find the deck I had been using. I also kind of accidentally maybe deleted your video, so we're going to redo it and see what the story wants to be. We're going to get the Kipper deck out, then we're going to use the tarot deck to kind of complete the story or expand on the story of what could be going on in Taurus energy right now. And then we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because everybody's kind of at different emotional maturity levels in their Taurus energy. Taurus can talk about it's earth sign energy. It can be just like all the other zodiac signs in shadow. It can be more about the world and caught up in the world and things we want to indulge in or make important in our life, which might be ourself, and it might be other things, whatever we make more important than love. And other people have learned some lessons in life, not to be more stubborn or prideful or egotistical or think they're God, and that people should treat them like they're God in their life, even though they might be a narcissist and think they're God. And there is no higher truth or justice that they aspire to. And they could think they're perfect. Shadowy Taurus can be people who like to present themselves as having a certain status and image in the world, but then they can be quite shadowy and immature. And we've read some newspaper articles over the past couple of years about people who had a lot of status and image and thought because they had those things that nobody could touch them. There was no higher truth or justice because they were so powerful, right? Well, they have some lessons to learn about that there is a higher truth and justice, but high vibe Taurus is learning lessons, tempering your more egoic nature, growing up and maturing yourself, being inspired within yourself to want to grow and mature yourself, to authentically feel proud of yourself, because in high vibe Taurus you act with character and integrity. Not living a life of illusion, not trying to deceive and manipulate people, not presenting yourself as loving someone when really you don't even want to do love because you get hurt doing love. And some people just live more from their mind than their heart. And it's all trying to create an illusion with the Magician card. And for the people in the world who are more manipulated by the world, more caught up in themselves, make other things more important in their life, the more stubborn, the more prideful, the more immature, they got a lot of lessons to learn. So odds are they will keep being manipulated by those things. It takes time to learn lessons. It can take years and decades to learn some lessons, right? And other people did learn lessons along the way. And they are who they say they are. So what's going on in Taurus energy? We have the main male, and the reason is because of the adjudication. So the way I read tarot, the masculine energies can talk about how we present ourselves in the world and action that we could be taking in the world. And when we go take our worldly vessel out in the world, that's considered masculine energy. The feminine figures can talk about how we really think and feel. So everybody right now could, being going out and presenting themselves in the world, male or female, to try to get the outcome that they want. If they're trying to get people to align with them, invest in them, date them, be their friend, marry them, hire them, keep them in a job, go into business with them, whatever it is, It's just that the high vibe people really are who they say they are. They are balanced, and they are which means they offset their more shadowy nature, like with hope and faith and belief and love and encouragement, so they don't indulge their more shadowy nature of pride and ego and immaturity. They take accountability within themselves. It's not only if they get caught doing something will they take accountability. They hold themselves accountable. They do high vibe Taurus. They walk the talk. Everybody harnesses Taurus energy, either in a more high vibe way, a more worldly way, or a more shadowy way. And other people have decided that they think they can live more from their ego nature. I don't have to be more authentic or just or fair or loving or whatever. I think I can just create an illusion that that's kind of the person I am. I think that's good. And they're hoping it will work. And, just depends on where people are in this, in the sequence of this story that we're going to talk about. Some people are trying to decide, because we have our dualistic free will nature, but sometimes we haven't decided yet. Do I have more hope and faith and belief in myself and in my dreams and in love? Or do I think I need to work more with these things of the world and maybe not be more authentically myself and maybe conform more to the world, which can also be like shadowy Taurus conforming to the world? Some people still can't decide, and some people are the people who already made the decision to act in truth and love. Shadowy energy is represented by the devil. It might take longer, but judgment will go in their favor. And other people might be impatient. They want what they want, and they could have decided to take some action, thinking it was a good idea, and judgment would go in their favor, and they could be feeling judged right now. And so at every moment of our life, when we go down this path and we realize, oh, wait, there was something I wasn't seeing, or I got caught up in something. Are we willing to take accountability for our actions, get out of our ego, to say, yep, I went down a wrong path. Yep, that didn't work out the way I thought it was going to work out. And some people are so prideful and egotistical that even if they go down the wrong path, they'll keep going down that wrong path. Unwilling to say they made a mistake, right? So, people are making these decisions like they are every day in their life. And it's kind of interesting, too, because I do view Taurus as like the Supreme Court in our own head. We have this dualistic nature, whether we're kind of consciously aware of it or not, but throughout our life, we've kind of had to weigh the pros and the cons and debate all these things within ourselves. And then we make these certain decisions. I choose this, not that. I think this is just and fair, not that. I think this is good or right, not that. I think this is bad, not that. And so Taurus dictates the decisions that we make in our life, because Taurus kind of represents our philosophy of life. And we're either more in favor and tilted in favor of having hope and faith and belief in ourselves and more balanced and wanting these things of the world, yes, but I have to hold myself accountable. I could try to cheat the justice system, and I could try to get those things and step on everybody's back, throw them under the bus, be selfish, lie, or I wouldn't be proud of myself. And other people, that is how they feel so smart and think it could maybe be funny that they have this certain image, but yet they do all these shadowy things behind people's back, and I don't know, it kind of makes them feel powerful, but that kind of sounds a little devilish, right? Or you're a little more tilted in favor of kind of being more about yourself and just how it benefits you. High vibe Taurus is being a spiritual leader. Shadowy Taurus can be people who like to present themselves like a pillar of society, but that's just so they have this image in the world, but it's really not the truth of who they are. So, people are making these decisions. Next, we have a card not showing itself. We have to make a decision. In free will, we have to sacrifice something to choose something else. What do we love? And shadowy energy can be, I want to keep repeating an old pattern. I don't want to step out of my comfort zone. The truth sets us free. I don't want to maybe see the truth. I don't want to deal with the truth. I want to stay in denial of the truth. I haven't seen the truth. So we'll either keep repeating an old pattern or we'll kind of face our fears and be inspired to kind of get balance within ourselves and the Justice card and the Page of Swords, to love and believe in ourselves and believe in our dreams and be willing to hold ourselves accountable with the Justice card and the truth, to stand up for ourselves and the Emperor, make those hard decisions. That in high vibe Gemini and Virgo of the Magician, I do have hope and faith and belief in myself, and my truth is I'm tipped more in favor of having hope and faith and belief in myself and in others and in love. And the other people are going to decide to indulge your more immature nature. They want to look like a boss, but they really don't want to do the work it takes to really, make those hard decisions or be more authentic and really make decisions and hold themselves accountable. And so whatever way is best for them that they decide, that's what they're going to invest in and work to manifest. So what is that kind of deciding factor right now in Gemini energy? The Fool card in reverse. Well, the way I would interpret that is that some people know they don't want to repeat certain patterns. We'll all repeat a pattern until we kind of realize, oh my gosh, I keep kind of doing the same thing over and over, and I keep maybe not working out the way that I want, but I don't want to see the truth. And that's like the Seven of Swords can be not wanting to listen to our intuition. Again, could be living more from our mind than our heart. The Seven of Swords is Aquarius energy, kind of caught up in our head or caught up in the world and these dreams. Aquarius can be about the dreams that we want to manifest. And could be unwilling, shadowy people could be unwilling to take that leap of faith and love. So they keep thinking, I can just keep living more from my mind than my heart. And the Empress can represent and talk about love, and it's Libra and Taurus. So here we have Libra, and actually the adjudication card could kind of be like Libra energy also. And then Taurus energy, what do we think is just and fair in our philosophy of life? And some people think it's just and fair to kind of deceive and manipulate people. I will try to present myself as someone who's motivated and inspired to act with character and integrity and love. But for some, again, it's just an illusion they're creating. They're not really going to do love. They're not really going to put skin in the game and really emotionally invest themselves in it. They're going to quack like love, talk like love, but not authentically do love. The Six of Cups in Scorpio and the Five of Cups in Scorpio, they don't want to do a deep, meaningful relationship. High vibe Scorpio's emotional water sign energy, and it's about exploring the mysteries of life emotionally. Well, Scorpio talks about the fact that we're emotionally complex human beings. We can have a lot of different thoughts and feelings towards people, and what we feel can affect how we think, and then affect what we think is just and fair in our philosophy of life. And some people, they don't even really know themselves emotionally, How are they going to have a deep, meaningful relationship with people if they don't even get more balance between their mind and their heart to be more balanced within themselves, to be more connected in with themselves emotionally? It makes me think that one time someone had said some quote that was along the lines of, know yourself, know, kind of like the world. But so I Googled it and I just put something like phrases, know yourself, know the, or just know. Pulled up all these quotes in the world. But, if we have the Six of Cups can talk about balance, getting emotionally balanced. Emotionally, we have our dualistic nature. Emotionally, it's like 2, 3 of Cups, which is Cancer energy, which can be like what we love. Do we love some of these things in the world? Do we want to go invest in some of those things? Yes. Do we love kind of wanting to be in relationships, maybe with people who are just and fair and loving? Yeah, but some people tip in favor, again, the seven tips in favor, those things in the world are more important. And that's a shadowy Libra Taurus. I think it's just and fair to make my life more about me or these things of the world, or me being able to be, it being more about me being more indulged in the relationship, or the money or the status or the ego or the image, or willing to indulge someone to have those things. Well, when you choose that, you're not taking a leap of faith in love. Some other people have probably had some experience with that ourselves. We've all been more immature and maybe didn't listen to our intuition and kind of self-indulgent or something. And, we hurt other people. And some people kind of get up in their head about that. And they don't like that some of the people that they had been in friendships or relationships with, that they maybe didn't handle it so well. So, they decide to offer, like in High Vibe Empress of Libra and Taurus, to offer love to themselves about those issues, and then you incorporate that into your philosophy of life. I don't want to do that anymore. And if I went and did some things that I thought was going to be great and fun and maybe got me in trouble, yeah, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I need to see the truth. I need to grow up and mature myself. Maybe need to get more balance within myself and realize that some things are not worth investing in to that extreme, or I will end up in regret. So it's trying to maintain this balance. Again, the sixes can talk about balance. Libra talks about balance, because Libra is represented by the scales of justice. There could be some things, anybody could think, oh, maybe I'd want to go do this or do that, whatever. Well, some people in their life could be hurt. Well, it's like, why would I do that? If I love those people and those people are working together with me in equal give and take, why would I do that? And if I really want to go do that, is there something about this that I don't find emotionally fulfilling? Maybe at one time I did, but now I don't. I should tell the truth. High Vibe Libra, represented by the Justice card. I should communicate my truth to people, And probably, when we're younger, it can always be hard to... We don't want to... if we love someone and like someone, we don't want to be the one to make them feel bad, but it might be, we kind of have to weigh that out with also someone being confused about, well, I didn't know why you didn't want to be friends anymore, or why you didn't want to keep dating. And then, hopefully as we grow up and we go through some of those experiences and ourself, we kind of learn that, I think anybody can handle the truth better, but doesn't mean we have to tell people. We could just tell people that I kind of think, Aquarius can be about our dreams, and maybe a way in the Six of Cups, kind of how things we could kind of find emotionally fulfilling that we enjoy doing, and things that we don't like doing maybe as much. And, we can be kind of mismatched in a lot of different ways. Could everybody be just and fair and loving people? Yeah, they are. Are we necessarily a right match for them? You can date someone and then it's like, and that's hard. But, there too, hopefully everybody kind of understands it is kind of that unique thing. The longer you stay in the relationship, the harder it can be, especially if you don't want to hurt them. But say you feel someone is more in these energies where they kind of are more happy and enjoy living their life, maybe not stepping outside their comfort zone and repeating a certain pattern. And you could have known them for X number of years, and you could have lived your life like that too, and it was fine. And we were doing it because we thought it was just and fair, because that's where we were at too. But again, we might repeat a pattern and a way of living life until we kind of, and we could have been a little more tipped out of balance and kind of driven and motivated by some of these things. And then over time, we could feel more emotionally balanced within ourselves. And then we could think about what we want to give birth to next. And to get the justice that we want, to keep in the Eight of Wands, keep being motivated and inspired by our truth and these things we want to manifest. And maybe we could be in a friendship or relationship or at a job, and those people kind of like, well, I kind of thought we were going to keep doing this, like maybe another year, another 10 years or 20. And it's like, well, I like that too, but I wasn't planning to live my life that way forever. I kind of viewed it as a stage of life. And if I feel like me and those people get along well, and we're loving and encouraging and supportive and treat each other in a just and fair way, I want to move forward, but I'm also like communicating with them in the Page of Swords that I would like you to come with. You're kind of part of what I wanted to manifest. I view you as a just and fair person, could view you as a loving person, and I enjoy your company. I would like you to come with. And it can be harder if we kind of feel like we kind of maybe know that, but I guess we shouldn't assume, right? And then maybe we might know that, I don't really think we're on the same page. The things that I think I want to manifest, I think is different than the things they want to manifest. Kind of like we do have different dreams. We could have different comfort zones. We could have different things we like to invest our time, energy, and effort into. And over time, can there be love there? But I just don't think it would work out moving forward, right? So we've all kind of been through that. And hopefully as people have went through those situations, we have more compassion to, regardless of how difficult it is, to, just like we would appreciate it if people told us, so we're not always confused, like, I don't understand why that person kind of did what they did. I thought we got along. I thought it was just and fair. But we don't really know how other people think and what, sometimes other people could know what other people kind of are driven and motivated by, and how they would maybe like to live their life, and maybe they kind of don't want to see the differences, but the other people can kind of see the differences. And it's like, I don't know that I think this is going to be a good match. And with other people in our life, we could tell them we want to move forward with them, and kind of their idea of how they plan to move forward and their idea of the dream life, we didn't realize was different, and we were sad. And we could have wanted those people to move forward with us, but they didn't. So, it goes both ways. And some people could be going through that in friendships and relationships or workplaces again. In other situations, if we've been dealing with someone and we feel we've been loving and encouraging, and we've been trying to help other people kind of work through some of their things that kind of have them up in their head, to Sagittarius and the Eight of Wands can be about higher learning and education, to kind of wrap their brain, offer love to those things and wrap their brain around some of those things so they can come to a place of peace about it. And kind of accept the truth that everybody was where they were at. Everybody has their different dreams. Sometimes we don't know People can be at different emotional maturity levels. People can be more caught up in themselves or more materialistic or whatever. And, we could try to help some people, just like we could try to help people at a workplace, right? But we can't make other people love themselves. We can't make other people get inspired to work through some of those issues of things that could cause them pain or heartbreak or fear, or um, get them to see how you kind of keep repeating a certain pattern. And it doesn't work out well for you, but you seem to want to stay in denial of the truth and you keep doing it. And eventually, if there's people who, sometimes we have to be willing to see the truth that, well, we have to see the truth of who is deciding to work together with us in a more just and fair and authentic and loving way, and who seems to be being truthful, and who seems to be being deceptive, is what the Seven of Swords can talk about. Who does seem to be more on the same page as us in kind of Sagittarius, can be about learning these lessons in life. Who seems to have learned some of the same lessons I've learned, whatever stage of life we're at. We've kind of learned some lessons of what we think is just and fair, of how to interact and treat people in a relationship. And then we can have some people in our life that don't seem to have learned those lessons. And again, they can be stubborn or bossy or think they should be indulged, or they're immature, keep repeating old patterns, keep doing something that makes it hard to work with them, which isn't difficult with other people, because those other people have kind of worked through some of those ways of being, and they are able to maybe temper their more immature nature, their bossy nature, their fearful nature, whatever. They've worked through it, and so they're able to move forward with people regardless of differences in age or positions of power or authority, able to get along with a variety of people. And regardless, again, if people are young or people are old, they know how to work together with people. They've kind of learned those lessons, and seems like, some people haven't. And eventually, in the Five of Cups, we can be sad, but it's like, and that's kind of the Page of Swords, which is like, it's not wanting to be a harsh message, but it's like, I don't want to keep moving forward with you. If I feel like I've done everything I can, eventually you have to come to the truth that if you were motivated and inspired to work together with me in a more just and fair way, you would. But I feel like I keep putting in that work and effort, and I'm the one who always feels sad. And sometimes other people want us to be sad because they could be sad. Or, again, it could be this false sense of empowerment. I control my life and I control you. And again, it's a way for a person to maybe feel powerful, which can be, the pages can be that people are being authentic and honest, and high vibe, the Empress, and the Justice card, and all of these can talk about people are trying to work together with people in a just and fair way. And some people purposely, mentally try to fuck with people who are like that. I know you love me. I know you want this to work, but I don't want to do it the way you want to do it. And so I'm going to use the love that you might have for me, whether they're your adult child, brother, sister, mom, dad, long-term friend, or romantic interest. I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it this way. And basically, because I want to be indulged in this relationship. And I want to do it this way. And they know the other people want to do it this way. But again, it's like thinking, oh, because you love me, or because you want me to be in your life, or you want this friendship or relationship or whatever to keep working out, or a supervisor, a boss could do that at work with employees, like, oh, I think you won't leave. I think you'll keep indulging me in my poor behavior. But the thing is, people can, for a long time, kind of be stuck. But one day, judgment comes. And people decide, that's it. I'm done. No more being in denial of the truth. Can I have love for people and keep my distance from them? Yes. I will see you at Christmas. I'll see you at the next holiday. I'll see you around. I'll see you out. But I've decided, out of love for myself, and the Emperor is Aries energy, which is about the self. Out of love for myself, I'm not going to keep investing more time, energy, and effort in people who keep showing me over and over and over that they do not want to work together with me in a more just and fair way. Or that some people I could have communicated with that maybe I would like to get in a more involved friendship or relationship with, or see if we can work through some issues of the past, and they don't want to, then, it's all this thing of working through your ego to accept the truth of it. And to see the truth, our dreams, which is Aquarius energy, and getting justice in Libra energy, the only way we can give birth to the dreams that we want to manifest is to be in relationships and have people working with us, if it involves someone else having to be part of it, is to find people who are in that energy. And when we realize that truth, but we did have to offer love to ourselves and work through all of our mental conflict about the fact that, well, I can love this person, I care for this person, but until they get inspired, maybe they got to go, the Sagittarius energy can be, some people might have to go on a journey in life, to hang out with some other people to maybe realize it's not just, certain people in their life that they have a problem with, because some of the people in their life might know how difficult they are to deal with when people know them more. And just on the surface, they could seem fine, but as people get in more involved relationships with them, then it's not as easy for them to deceive people about the truth of who they are. And people could kind of realize, again, they like to live more from their mind than their heart, kind of be indulged in a relationship, maybe be a little bit more about themselves, try to manipulate people, try to control people, want it to be more about them. Repeat some poor past patterns that aren't conducive to a relationship moving forward, might be more superficial and shallow, maybe have some issues from their past they haven't worked through, might be more codependent on their ego, self-protective nature, or anything else within themselves that they indulge, other people, the world. They're just haven't grown up, and the Empress and the Emperor are counterparts. So, and the minor arcana cards could be like, it can just represent what people are doing in their day, but it can also represent that people are in more page energy. And in tarot, we have the pages, the knights, the kings and queens, the emperor, the empress, the Hierophant, and the High Priestess. And each one of those talks about learning these different lessons in life. And we could just be dealing with some people in our life, but it doesn't matter if they're younger or they're older. Some people, again, like repeating old patterns, like to be indulged, like it to be more about them, maybe a little egotistical and self-centered, don't like to maybe have to take accountability for their actions, and if people in the past kind of have indulged them in being that way, they like it that way, and they don't want to change. Well, other people see that, and, could we have indulged people at different stages in our life? Well, yeah. and maybe they weren't as bad in their behavior at different stages in their life. And the more and more people keep repeating old patterns, and the more other people kind of grow and mature themselves, you know, it's this kind of divide. And I think high vibe people offer love to the situation. I love me, I can love them. Do I want to be in a more involved relationship with them? No. Do I want to keep my distance from them? Yes. I have my truth and how I want to move forward and what I'm inspired by that I think is just and fair. They have the things and the people in their life that they want to be in friendship or relationship with and indulge in, that inspires and motivates them, that they think is just and fair. And we look at life differently. And everybody has their truth of who and what they want to invest their time, energy, and effort into, and their idea of probably the dream life. And it's different with some people. And there's other people in our life that we hold ourselves accountable. We don't take foolish risks in the relationship because we love each other. We want to keep staying in friendship and relationship with each other. When we do kind of get up in our head about something, we might communicate it with each other about it. We might offer love to ourselves to figure out what it is that's kind of going on, and what are some of my fears and insecurities. Maybe things seem to be changing. The other person seems to be changing or seems to be more bold and brave and confident. I could get up in my head or my insecurity or whatever, and we keep being more inspired to offset anything that could tempt us from not moving forward with it, because we love those people and we know that they love us. So why would we do those hurtful and unkind or get up in our head? We communicate our truth. It could be I don't know, you're kind of manifesting and doing things that, and viewing life in a way that I really haven't viewed life that way, and that's kind of different for me, and makes me a little uncomfortable or something. Or you want to go do something new? We kind of usually have been doing this, and it's like, but it's compromise. If you're, it's just like whether it's a friend or a workplace or a romantic relationship. If we have this common goal of this dream, it's like the two people, it makes me think of the Three of Pentacles. They have their dreams and aspirations, the other person has their dream and aspirations, and together you have the dream, the common dream. And so everybody has to be willing to communicate. Everybody has to be willing to work through their fears and their insecurities and their regrets of the past, and because otherwise those things could influence and impact, and it can come up in the relationship where they kind of get triggered in their fear or their insecurities or something, and they work through those things and they take responsibility for that within themselves to keep being inspired, to keep making the decision. If the people in their life, they're on the same page, they're being just and fair and loving and authentic to each other, they keep moving forward in that way. Now, if we could feel like we're moving forward with some people, but it is a more mismatched relationship where someone moves forward in something and then they kind of realize, oh, maybe you are more immature. Maybe you are more bossy and controlling. Maybe you are kind of more manipulative. You kind of created the illusion you're more loving, but you might have some issues from your past you haven't worked through that make you kind of more defensive and immature and bossy and controlling. That could be like shadowy emperor, a magician, and Eight of Wands. Well, then it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. We used to get along, but now we're not. So, and then the Five of Cups, the fives can talk about something changed. Why did things change? And we could communicate to people. Seems like things changed. What's going on? And then, sometimes you don't know. Maybe I just wasn't seeing them clearly. Maybe I was kind of staying in denial of the truth because I wanted this to work out. Just like same way we could go interview at a job and there's things about it that it's like, oh, I don't know. But we kind of don't listen to our intuition and we go take that job and then it's like, shit. These people are not who they said they are. And these people, some of the people are the person that's a direct supervisor or whatever, or a manager is really immature and full of themselves and bossy and all that stuff. It's like, shit, I should listen to my intuition. Well, I think high vibe people, you can only take accountability for your actions. Other people have to take accountability for theirs. And if they're not willing to, and you see they're not willing to, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to keep moving forward with you. So just like if we had immature people, everybody's going to kind of move forward in their life, but it's like, yeah, in a way, some people are going to move forward, keep doing the same stuff they've always been doing. Other people are inspired to kind of grow and heal and mature themselves. It's like, I'm going to let you move forward in your life with other people. And if you are more about being about you and it's more about the ego and the image of it, or you being indulged or being able to manipulate people or whatever, I'm going to let you do that with someone else. And I'm going to kind of work through all this and the sadness and the grief and see what I needed to learn from this whole situation. And if it was that I didn't love myself, I was looking for someone to love me, I was out of balance, I was more caught up in illusion, I didn't listen to my intuition, I'm going to work on all that because I don't want to do that again. And then once they do that, they're ready to move forward because they've gotten rebalanced within themselves, kind of gotten clear about their truth, have worked through that situation, and then they're ready to move forward to have these new beginnings. But now they know, just like we get in these relationships, and it's like, initially we can get in a relationship and we could see, oh, that person is really pretty reckless and immature. Aren't they fun? And we go get in a relationship with them, but really we're not to that degree of immature and reckless. Well, it's probably not going to work out, It has to be a little more on the same page. It's nice to compliment each other, but, there is, kind of within reasonable bounds of balance, right? And we can get initially in some very out of balance relationships just because we do have all these lessons to learn. And it's all about trying to get clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't. And hopefully as we go through life, we learn more of those lessons. And if during the course of some of these situations that didn't work out the way we wanted, we kind of did have to get inspired within ourselves to love and believe in ourselves. If we didn't want to keep kind of driving our own life in the ditch. And so people got inspired to love themselves, work through all of that, put things in perspective, look at life from a higher perspective, be inspired, get more balance within themselves, love themselves. And for the people who did that, again, we can have all these people going out in the world. They all can look like these very just, fair, stable, grounded, mature people. It's just that some people are creating an illusion. And now we know that. And before, loving people could have thought everybody's motivated and inspired by love. And now they've learned, no, some people, no, they're not doing love. They'll create the illusion they're willing to do love, but it's just an illusion. And so long as you're willing to move forward with them in a relationship, where it's more like them indulging themselves, maybe sexually in the relationship, but it never becomes a more deep, meaningful relationship, it's just an illusion. If other people are more, where it's more about them, as time goes by, you kind of realize that they do have these illusions about love, because love is supposed to be just and fair. You're supposed to work cooperatively together. Can we defer to people that we love and respect in different situations? You seem to have more of a lead in this area. You seem to have more of a lead in this area. I will defer to you. Yes. But, just that it's just always supposed to be more their way or the highway or more about them. And some people, they don't even want you to love yourself. Some people don't want you to grow and mature yourself to your full potential. Don't want you to invest in your dreams and your unique talent, skills, and interests because they think it should be just all about supporting them in their dreams and their interests, right? But anyway, the shadowy people, they do just kind of create an illusion in the world about the type of person they are, and they could think that's what everyone does. So those people could think you're just creating an illusion. But what they don't know is you really have learned these lessons in life. You are someone who has learned to love and believe in yourself and make better decisions in your life and believe in yourself and think you have more to work with than just these things of the world, less codependent on people in the world because you've been given your creative, inspired, intuitive nature, and at the big picture, that's represented by God. That high vibe energy is looking to work with people because God always wants to give birth to something new. And God can only work with the people in the world who aren't going to keep repeating that old pattern. Because if we keep repeating that old pattern, we're never going to give birth to anything new. And the Empress is about giving birth to something new. So, we're a vessel, and in our Gemini nature of free will, it's just like all the energies of the world: love, grief, sadness, envy, jealousy, rage, or whatever. Those things are energies that exist in the world, but they can't have life unless we embody them. So, by what we choose to invest our time, energy, and effort into, what thoughts, what emotions do we sit in? Do we swaddle? Do we burp? Do we feed? And we grow to adulthood? A shadowy monster version or a more hopeful, believing, balanced, loving nature, And some people chose to invest in growing and maturing themselves, so they're less in their more immature, petty, envious, jealous, manipulative, egotistical, self-centered nature. And some other people are in some degree of still being more, and if not just letting their ego run their life, and their more authentic nature never gets to come out and play. Shadowy people can be like bad parents to themselves. They think it's just and fair to indulge their more immature nature. But they try to create this illusion that that's not the truth of who they are, but there's some lessons they did not learn. And so long as other people don't know, they're more selfish, greedy, prideful, self-centered, more about their own self-interest. They think it's okay. And if they decide they want to go do something, they could just lie and deceive people about the truth, and they just think that's just and fair. Other people act with more character and integrity. And, it's just a different of what kind of person that you are, The high vibe people, what the shadowy people don't realize is the high vibe people have worked through and rejected harnessing this energy in a more worldly, shadowy way, because that's what kept them getting in these kind of friendships and relationship dynamics and made them stay in them for as long as they did. And what the shadowy people don't know, and anybody else who meets the more high vibe people, is that the high vibe people harness it in a more high vibe way. So, that can, in a way, sound like fantastical or egotistical or whatever. But when we've been 18, 21, and 25, even in those age groups, people had different ways of viewing life and things that they thought were just and fair. And sometimes some people come across some people thinking, oh, I bet these people think like I think, and I bet these people, I can manipulate them, or I can be bossy or controlling with them, or whatever. And they don't realize that some other people are like, yeah, no, I don't play those games. I'm not into that shit. And then those people, it's like, oh, you maybe already dealt with people like me before. Okay, I gotta go find someone else. Someone else who hasn't learned the truth about people like me and isn't willing to tolerate and calls judgment on people like me who act that way, right? So it goes on throughout our life. What is it? The Page of Cups. So some people are very loving and nurturing and supportive, and that's how some people can manipulate you. They know you're just and fair and loving and encouraging. And because you are being just and fair and loving and encouraging, and you work together with people that way, it's kind of like it can get you up in your head when other people don't work with you that way in return. It's like, well, why aren't they working together with me like that? Partly it's because they're trying to, that's not the truth of who they are. And sadly, I think some people in the world just think loving people, they're not a loving person and align with their loving nature, probably because of things that have happened in their life. And they decided that just made them a sucker and they're not doing it anymore. But there's other loving people in the world that other people are going to deceive and manipulate. It might as well be them. And so then it's just like they think you're dumb. In a way. You're a sucker. You will put a lot of work and effort to try to make things work. Cool. By the way, I'm going to be difficult, and I'm going to be prideful, and I'm going to be stubborn, and I'm going to play poor, pitiful me, and I'm going to do all these things. And because you really want me to like heal or get more balance or love and believe in myself, you'll keep putting in a lot of work and effort into being in a friendship or relationship with me. And they're like, hey, that works for me. It's kind of like you're filling my cup emotionally. And I really don't know how to fill my own cup emotionally, and I choose not to do it. So, hey, it's nice to hang around you. How long are you going to stick around? You want to get married? That'd be great. you know? And, but they never plan. It's always like, when are you going to see the truth that I'm not motivated and inspired by love like you are, and I'm not like you? But because you have a hard time accepting the truth that not everybody's motivated and inspired by love, it's like trying to change people again in the Five of Cups, and the fives being about change. That is not my truth. But hey, you're not like me, and you're not more petty and bossy and controlling and manipulative and deceitful and immature. Hey, I like hanging out with you. It is much better than hanging out with someone like myself. So, hey, as long as you're willing to do it, I'll keep moving forward with you. And some people got themselves in those kind of things, and they learn to love themselves enough to stand up. Kind of the emperor has learned all these lessons in the pages, the knights, the kings, and the queens. The emperor harnesses all four of the kings emotionally, internally, whether they're a male or a female. They've learned all the lessons in the queens too, because internally they're an empress. I can go out in the world and treat people the way I like to be treated, in a just and fair and loving and encouraging and respectful way. If that's their truth, great, we can move forward together. If they show me that's not their truth, I've now learned I am not willing to, I maintain balance within myself because I have a dream. So the Knight or the Page of Swords is like Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. Libra is about things have to be just and fair. Aquarius, I have a dream. Gemini, in dualistic nature, it has to be just and fair and aligned with truth and love. And now, truth and love, just and fair, inspired by justice and fairness and truth and love, not just love alone. Because it's kind of like in the pages of the knights and the kings and queens, we can go on these journeys of the fool to learn these lessons, and we kind of drive our life off into the ditch. It's like, oh my gosh, I love them. And the other, in tarot, we have the four suits of the deck, but when we pick love as like, that's the most important thing, and kind of the other ones aren't as important, we'll go drive our life off into the ditch, and the other three aspects of our life can go in the toilet. And it's kind of learning that all four aspects are equally important. And I don't let myself get too tipped out of balance in living more from my mind than my heart, being more about the world, in my creative, passionate nature, in my loving nature. It has to be balanced, and I can go out in those areas depending on the circumstances. Like at work, I might be more in the mind and the pentacle suit, right? And when I'm dealing with loved ones or children, I can be more maybe in the pentacle and the heart, or the fire and the heart. But it has to, I've learned how to maintain balance within myself to no longer be more manipulated in one, two, or three areas where I have to sacrifice kind of my truth. And I want justice and fairness and balance. And before maybe being a loving person or wanting to be in friendships and relationship, because that's kind of what Taurus energy can be about, I probably tipped too much in favor of that, and it manipulated me more. I wanted these things to manifest, these things in the world that I wanted as a part of my dream. Not anymore. And then it's also probably in high vibe Aquarius, looking at life from a higher perspective, that God gave me the gift of my intuition to listen to. And if there's kind of shadowy people in my environment who think it's just and fair to harness those energies in a more immature way, but they're not actually offering love, no. I will keep investing in other parts of my dream, and unless people are willing to hold themselves accountable and choose to offer love, there's all sorts of people in the world who's like, hey, I'll be in a friendship or relationship with you, for all these different reasons, but I'm not going to do love. It's like, okay, then you can go do that with someone else. I'm going to stay over here, hold myself accountable, hold other people accountable, stay in the energy of love, enjoy the people in my life. Sad that some people aren't willing to work together with us in a more just and fair and loving way, but, enjoy your life. You're going to have to go find someone else to manipulate. And I think as you do that and listen to your intuition, kind of like when your intuition tells you that some of the people in your environment are more authentic, just, fair, balanced, and loving. It's like to get to know them, and people will get to know people like, maybe without, because they've also probably been manipulated in their loving nature. And it's kind of to get to know people, to get more clear about what drives and motivates them and what their truth is before they kind of get in a more involved relationship of maybe getting to know someone in a more romantic sense, right? So what's coming up for some people who harness some high vibe Taurus energy? Listening to their intuition about who are the people in their life who seem to be more aligned with their truth and who isn't, and willing to love themselves, to speak their truth and take action on their truth. What's coming up for them? The Two of Wands. Why? Because of the Eight of Wands. So the Eight of Wands, because the high vibe people were inspired within themselves to get to the truth, because something could have been kind of confusing them, kind of maybe feeling like things weren't what they thought, maybe feeling a little manipulated, also willing to see the truth. How does my own shadow nature, how does my own fear, my own immature nature, my lust, my greed, all those things, other people in my life, how do I let all those things manipulate me? And then why? Do I think I deserve to have my dreams come into reality? Is that how I'm living my life? What about the people I'm in friendship and relationship with? Do I think they're in it for more ulterior purposes, or do I think they're being truthful and authentic and just and fair and loving? If not, why am I staying in relationships with them? You know? And the difference between the Eight of Wands and the Two of Wands is the Six of Wands, which is on our Leo energy. Are we kind of more manipulated by our fear and our insecurities and ego and image? Or are we more inspired to love and believe in ourselves and believe in our dreams and to listen to our intuition? Everybody has their opinion. Everybody has their life. They have the people and the friends and things that they like to invest their time and energy into. That's fine. They have the free will to live their life that way. Do I have to live my life that way? I mean, if that's not my truth, am I willing to live? And that's like high vibe Leo. Am I willing to live my authentic truth? And in high vibe, I just want to live my authentic truth from love. I want to invest my time, energy, and effort to be able to be more authentically myself, not be so manipulated by the world and conforming to the world and making my life more about the ego or the image. And I'm not proud of myself if I keep indulging my more immature nature or indulging other people. I want it to be inspired by truth and love and be in friendships and relationships with people and be at workplaces where people, we can either create a little heaven on earth or we're creating a little hell on earth. And there could be some people feeling judged for the decisions they are making. And some people, even the people in shadowy energy, could say, I don't give a damn, judge away, I'm going to go do it. And they should, in a way. There will be consequences. If they're being hurtful and unkind, yeah, there's going to be consequences. If they're more selfish, materialistic, yeah, go do it. Live your truth. Quit hiding that you're not more bossy or controlling or materialistic. Let everybody see. Quit living a life of illusion. Go get in a relationship with people that you think are into that too, It gets too overwhelming to live a life that's not aligned with our truth. If you love whatever, I mean, and so I think people are trying to make these decisions. Even if they're at a job, that job looks great, but I don't like that job. Or they don't indulge me enough. I want what I want now, and I'm not willing to take the time. Well, then go look for a different job. And some of those people might. And they might do it to try to manipulate the people they're in a relationship or at a workplace to get those people to help move it along faster because they want what they want. And hopefully, if it was an employer situation, hopefully they've had enough experience with those people to realize, no, you can go. Maybe we'll promote some of the people who already do work here who seem to want to work here. Inspired to work here and put in work and effort. You might have more brains, more intelligence, more work experience, but, people being motivated and inspired to do things are capable, Other people are bright and smart. But some people, shadowy people, could be letting a dream of something that they wished that they could love, willing to let it go, because what's more important is that it either be more about them or these things of the world, or they'd have to hold themselves accountable, stand up for themselves to the world or other people. And some of them are like, no, I'm just going to do the illusion. And we see that other people are doing that. So it's kind of like, yep, I got to move on because they're manipulated more by their worldly, egoic nature, immature nature or something. So I'm going to move forward, listen to my intuition, invest my time, energy, and effort into people who I think are more mature and are who they say they are. Those are the people I can have my dreams come into reality. So I get out of my Six of Wands ego about some people in my life, and I look to the future, and I'm kind of in the flow, is kind of what the Eight of Wands can be. We're in the flow of aligned with living our truth and investing in our truth, and we don't have people keeping us focused on repeating this old pattern. Again, kind of have dropped the burden. I'm going to go invest in my truth. And if that's not your truth, I wish you peace. And with some of those people, at one time you could have thought you still could have wanted to be in more of a friendship or relationship, and with some of those people you don't. You know, as some people keep doing what they do and you're doing what you do, you kind of work through the illusions that you had of them, and you see they're not the person that you thought they were, and you just are one of the people who bought into the illusion of who they are, and you're moving forward with other people who are moving forward. What's coming up for the shadowy Taurus people of the world that they might not see coming? The Knight of Cups and the Page of Pentacles, and the reason is because of the Six of Wands. Well, when there's shadowy people in the world, they keep, in their Six of Wands of Leo energy, they keep repeating old patterns. Creating the illusion they're willing to invest in something new, heal, grow, mature themselves, bring that dream into reality to get people to invest in them and move forward. But then they keep repeating these old patterns and it doesn't go anywhere. And that's, it's like they move forward and the other people are trying to move it forward, and these people keep going this way. And the other people are like, wait a minute, I thought we were moving forward. And they're like, oh yeah, we are. But it doesn't. It just keeps moving forward the same way it does. So they're going to have more high vibe people in their life that have wanted to be their friend. They could be friends or family members or anything, coworkers, neighborhood people, would like to be in a relationship with them, but they wanted things to change. They don't, again, it's kind of like they want people to grow up and mature themselves. Be willing, the Page of Pentacles is be willing to be a student of life. Quit being so defensive or egoic or manipulative or stubborn. But the high vibe people in their life eventually see, if they want to manifest what they want to manifest, they're going to have to let these shadowy people do what they do with someone else. And they're going to move on to go find people who are more on the same page as them. And the high vibe people could be, or the shadowy people could be confused. I put on such a good illusion. I acted this way. I quacked like this. I acted like this. But again, that's like shadowy Leo, where people are like putting on a show, trying to confuse people about the truth of who they are. While other people who are motivated by love listen to their intuition. And there's a difference between people who act like love and talk like love and the people who really seem to authentically be motivated and inspired authentically within themselves. That is the truth of who they are. And they can see that it does seem more superficial and shallow, and that the other people are in it more for whatever the reason is that they want to be in it. The ego, the image, the status, to indulge in, to maybe try to manipulate someone else, just looking for a better opportunity. You either want to give birth to this new beginning and work together with people to move forward, or maybe you got some other people in your life that you think you'd like to go be in a relationship with, then I'm going to let you go. Well, while you keep not being sure, I'm going to move forward with my truth. And then they'll be sad that those people aren't willing to kind of keep playing the game with them. They enjoyed the game. It worked for them. And it's like, well, those people saw through the illusion. Those people have healed or learned to love and believe in themselves. Time for me to go find someone else. Because the truth is, it's really just more about me. Because if a person's in a self-protective energy, like I don't want to do love because I get hurt, that is someone who's just, it's more about them. And they do not let their more hopeful, believing, loving nature come out to play because they could get hurt. And so that's when their ego nature runs their life. And it's basically more offering people, it's the illusion of offering people truth and love, but they really just offer them more of these things of the world. I'll be in a relationship with you. I'll have sex with you. You can share in my status or my image or my social cloud or whatever. Whatever they got in the world. But I'm not going to do love. And so they'll go look for someone else who maybe doesn't know the truth about who they are or hasn't been in a relationship with someone that could wear a very good false mask like they do. And then as that person moves forward in a relationship with them, either now or at some future point in time, if that person kind of sees through the illusion and realizes it's not really about love, it's more about them and the image or the status of it, or they're also hiding, they're very codependent and hoping the other person is more codependent and stays in a relationship with them for those reasons. But they probably are kind of deceptive and manipulative and not being in high vibe Leo, more truthful and authentic. It's up for that person to decide, and everybody has the free will to decide what works for them at any given time in their life. It's just that some of the people have already been at that job, in that friendship, in that relationship, and they don't view it as a victory anymore, and they've moved on. And they're having these new beginnings. When they quit investing in people who they realized they weren't on the same page with, that their dream couldn't come into reality with them, they are moving forward and communicating with people in their life and getting to know people, listening, loving, and maintaining balance and enjoying their life and their friendships and whatever else they want to invest time, energy, and effort into that's part of their dream, and enjoying their life, not being in a relationship for more of these other reasons. So there you go, Taurus. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.